Good morning, students. Good morning to all. And last day we have studied about the absolute cost advantages and the relative cost advantages. So today we will study about the modern theory of international trade. It is the classical theories. So what we have studied on last day, just we will remind about that, and we will go to the next chapter. So last day we have studied the absolute cost advantages theory and the comparative cost advantages theory. This two theory was a classical theory of international trade. So today we will study one of the modern theory of international trade. So the modern theory of international trade was developed by Swedish economist Helle Hexer and his student Bertil Hodel. So it is developed by Hexer and his student name is Bertil Ohlin. This model was based on the Ricardian theory of international trade. So what this theory come to says mean? This theory says that the basis for international trade is the difference in the factor endowments. Factor endowments means the factor of production, the availability of factor of productions, are the source of factor of productions. So according to this theory, the international trade is happening in the difference in factor endowments. So different nations are having the different type of the factors of productions with more resources or the productivities. So the differences between the factor endowment only or on the basis of the availability of the factor which has the more resources only, the nations are come to the international trade. So this theory also called as a factor endowment theory. So we know the theory is developed by the Hexer and Howlin. But according to his, the countries with the relative factor abundance can specialize and trade. Which countries has more skilled labor or abundance of the skilled labor will have more specializations and they can come to the trade. They can come to the trade mean they can export more. So according to his, so the abundance of skilled labor will create the specializations to produce or working any of the particular line. So if they have the specializations, if they get the specialization, they can export more commodities. So exchange for goods and services to whom? So the exchange for goods and services produced by the countries with abundance of unskilled labor. So just if you listen, one of the nations has abundant skilled labors. Because of that, the nations can easily get the specializations to produce any of the particular line of commodities so that they can able to export more and they can export the abundance unskilled labor. Otherwise, the nations which has lower unskilled labors or low unskilled labors. So according to his, the export embody the abundance factors and imports embody the scarce factors. How the exports is increased means by the way of having the abundant skilled labor, abundant skilled factors. Factor mean the different type of the factor, not different type. There's two factors are going to take for explaining this theory. So maybe the labor or the capital. Okay. So the classical theory argued that the basis for foreign trade was comparative cost difference and it considered only labor factor. But the modern theory of international trade explains the causes for such comparative cost differences. So how the comparative cost differences are created or arised. So this theory explaining the two reasons for the international differences in their comparative cost. In which reasons are there mean? The two reasons are there to make the differences in their international comparative cost. First one is difference in the endowment of facts of production between countries. So for example, two countries are there mean. So between these two countries, the factor of productions will be there. The factor of productions or the productivity of the factor of productions will be differs. The endowment means, so we can just think about the resources or the productivity or the power to produce. Okay, so now the difference in the endowment of factor of production between two countries. Now the if you are considering the two nations, America and India is there means, so the factor of production between these two countries or the productivity of the factor of production between these two countries will be different. So next is the difference in the factor proportions required in productions. For the purpose of produce any of the commodities, so we must apply the factor of productions. So the factor proportions also will be different in these two countries, because the two type of the method will be used by the different countries. The labor intensive capital or labor intensive method or the capital intensive method. So when they are using the capital intensive goods, this family produce more commodities, but the same countries will not able to produce any other commodities by using the labor intensive goods. So the two reasons only is the main reasons to the comparative cost difference or the comparative cost, and some of the assumptions are there to explain this theory. So there are two countries, two commodities and two factors model. These theories are taking the two countries, two commodities, two factors to explain. When the two countries only are going to involve in this international trade and they are going to produce two commodities by using the two factors only. So we know four type of the factor of productions, but these two nations are taking the two factor of productions only to produce the two commodity. Next, the countries differ in factor endowments. The countries difference in factor endowments. Difference in factor endowments mean, so the productivity of the factor, the productivity of the labor or the productivity of the capital. The both nations also will have the difference of the factor endowments, the productivity of factors or the resources of factors. Next, the commodities are categorized in terms of factory intensity. The commodities are categorized in terms of factor intensity. Factor intensity means by the productivity of the factor of productions only, so it will be categorized. So which nations are having the more productions. Next, these two countries use same production technology. There is no difference in technology. So what technology is going to produce any of the commodities, that same technology only using by two nations. Next, countries have identical demand conditions. Identical demand conditions mean the both nations also will have the difference in the demand of commodities. Next, there is perfect competitions in both product and factor markets in both the countries. Perfect competitions means, so the supply of commodity and the demand of commodities also will be there, and there is no government interventions, and both the buyers and sellers will come and more. So according to Hexin-Oram theories, how it's come to say means a capital abundant country will export the capital intensive good, while the labor abundant country will export the labor intensive good. So which country has more factor endowment with abundantly, that nations will be export the capital intensive good. So which country has more factor endowment with abundantly, that country will export the labor intensive good. For example, simply if you want to understand, so we can take the India will have more labor intensive good. So because the India is a agricultural country, so by using the more labor, the India will produce more crops. So the India can easily produce the or export the crops or the rice and paddy or the food items. Okay, but the America will use the capital intensive good or will export the capital intensive good. Capital intensive good mean some of the machineries and IT field software, everything is also considered as a capital intensive good. So for which factor will be going to use mean the factor proportions model, the factor proportion model which links export and imports to factor endowments, in which proportions the two nations are going to use to produce the commodities. The proportions will be linked with the factor endowments. Next, how the exports will be happen mean a country export those commodities produced with relatively large quantities of the country's relatively abundant factor. Suppose if the America has more capital intensive goods, this America will export the capital intensive goods to the India. The India will be export the food items to the Americas. So the relatively large quantities of the countries relatively abundant factors, which nations has more factor endowments with abundantly. So by using this abundantly factor endowment, these nations can be able to export to the other nations. So we can easily understand the explanations. So according to the Hexer-Hagelin theorem, a capital abundant country will export the capital intensive good, while the labor abundant country will export the labor intensive good. As I told, the food items and the machineries. So the America can able to produce more machineries by using the capital intensive, while the India is producing more food items by having the labor intensive. A factor is regarded abundant or scarce in relation to the quantum of other factors. If America has 30 percentage of capital and at the same time the labor is just 24 percentage, but when we are comparing to the India, so the India also has more labor and more capitals, but the proportions, the capital labor ratio proportion is very low in India, but it is high in America. In America 1.25 ratio is there. So a country can be regarded as richly endowed with capital only if the ratio of capital to other factor is higher than the other countries. So if the India has more labor and the supply when we are comparing to the America, so India is considered as a labor intensive nations maybe. But when we are considering the proportions to involving the capital and labor, so the America may be as a abundant countries. So simply easily if you want to understand the Hexer-Oglin theorem, so the capital abundant countries can be able to export the capital intensive goods to the labor abundant countries. Same time the labor abundant countries will export the labor intensive good to the capital abundant countries. So which nation has the difference in factor endowment? So on the basis of the difference or by using the abundant factor endowment, it will be get the specializations. So in this Hexer-Oglin theorem, one of the two type of the limitations are there. What are the limitations mean? The factor endowment of a country may change over time. So on the basis of time or on over the time or time again and again or on the course of time, the factor endowment of a country may change. Next, the efficiency of the same factor may differ in the two countries. Suppose if you are considering the labor, the efficiency or the productivity of the labor may be changed between the two countries. So our farmers may have more productivity and the labor in America may have the less productivity. So it will change. Next, the comparison of classical theory and the modern theory. So what are the difference are there or what are the relations are there among the classical theory and the modern theory is. So the classic theory explains the phenomenon of international trade on the basis of labor theory of value. By explaining the classical theory, so it says the international trade happens on the basis of labor theory. But the modern theory explains the phenomenon of international trade on the basis of general theory of value. Next, the classic theory presents one factor. One factor means labor model. So the productivity of labor, as we studied already. So on the basis of the productivity of the labor only, the classical theory was explained. So even the price per unit of one labor only taken into the account of classical theory. Next, the modern theory presents a multi-factor model. Multi-factor model means not two more factors, the two factors only. So the labor and the capital. The two factors also may have difference in their productivity. Next, the classical theory attributes the differences in the comparative cost to differences in the productive efficiency of workers in two countries. The productivity powers, the difference in productivity of the workers only is the reasons for the comparative cost. But on the basis of modern theory, it considered the differences in comparative costs to the difference in the factor endowments in the two countries. So here the availability of the factors or abundance of the factor endowments only is the reasons to making the comparative cost, the difference comparative cost. Okay students, next we will study the gains from international trade or advantages of the international trade. When we are involving in this international trade, so what are the advantages we can get? First one, efficient production. So the international trade enables each participatory countries or each countries to specialize in the production of goods in which it has absolute or comparative advantages. So international specialization offers the some of the gains. In whichever way all the nations are getting some of the efficiency in production first better utilization of resources. So when all the nations are involving in this international trade, it will be utilized all the resources in better way or optimum ways, because we have to use all the resources till last unit of the productions. And if the production or if the resources are very scarce, they have to use these resources in the optimum or the better economic way. Next, concentration in the production of goods in which it has a comparative advantage. So when the nations are predict the comparative cost advantages, so no nations will produce any of the commodities and it will be using the advantages from the other nations. If any of the nations are thinking so producing the commodities in this domestic nation is better than the imports the same commodities from the other nations. So it will use the advantages, comparative cost advantage. Next, saving in time. So when any of the countries does not able to produce any of the commodity with the higher cost, it will be import from the other nations by using the absolute cost advantage. So when they are importing from the other nations, so these domestic nations will saving the time to produce that commodity. Next, perfection of skills in productions. So whenever they cannot able to produce any of the commodities, it will import from other nations, and in the same time it will be focused on producing any of the commodities which can be able to produce by that same nation itself. So by this way, so the nations will get the perfection of skills in productions. If we know to produce any of the commodities, we have to focus on that commodity only. So when we are focusing on the production of knowing commodity, so we will get the specialization or special skills. Next, improvement in the techniques of productions. So if we have any of the techniques to produce any of the particular line of commodity, so we will get the improvements in techniques of productions. Next, increased productions. So by getting more time, we can easily increase the productions by using the availability resources. Next, higher standard of living in the trading countries. So all the countries can able to provide the highest standard of living in the trading countries. For example, if India as the dealing with the America, we can get all type of the product from the America, and because of that, our living standard of the people also will be increased. So next, equalization of prices between countries. The equalization of prices between countries also one of the helps. So the prices of goods are equalized between the countries. However, in reality, it has not happened. So by using the absolute cost advantages or by using the labor intensive or capital intensive goods, so all the nations can able to maintaining the reasonable prices or the equalized prices. So on the basis of the exchange rate only, the difference may be differ, but mostly it will be slight changes only may be there. So next, the difference is only with regard to the cost of transportations. By including the cost of productions, only we can get some of the difference in their price. Next, the prices of factor of production are also equalized, because when we are involving in this international trade, as we studied already, so all the factor of production can be able to moving from one place to another one of the place, that is the one nation to another one of the nations. So all the factors of productions get the fully employed. Next, equitable distributions of scarce materials. So international trade may help the trading countries to have equitable distribution of scarce resources. So one of the main objectives of the international trade itself, so we have to moving the scarce resources. We have to transferring the scarce resource from one nation to another one of the nations. Next, general advantages of international trade. So what are the general advantages are there mean? First, availability of variety of goods for consumption. So now we can consuming different type of the commodities only by the way of international trade, because sometimes our nations cannot able to produce any type of commodities, but we can use that commodities from the way of importing from other nations. Next is generation of more employment opportunities. So when we are importing, the export import will be improved. Otherwise, after importing, some of the employment opportunity will be created. And from the customs union also will require more employment opportunity. Next, industrializations of backward nations. So the backward nations also will be improve the industrializations because of importing any of the commodities or exporting some of the commodities. Next, division of labor and specializations. So if any of the nations are exporting the particular line of commodities by using the labor intensive, it will get the specialization to produce that commodities. Next, expansion in transport facilities. So the transport facilities also will be expand from one nation to another of the nations. So when we are involving in this international trade, otherwise the international trades are improving. On the basis of improving the international trade, so the transport facilities also have to be increased. Next, improvement in relationship among countries. So if there is no dealing, if there is no financial or the trade relationship, so among the nations, the quarrel and some of the controversy among the nations may be arised. But when all the nations are depending on other nations to trade, so there is no chance to make the quarrels and some things. Okay, students, I think it's enough. So if you have any doubt, please ask me. And you take the gains from international trade as your study portions. Thank you.